Moms, this message is for you. You get to have a fulfilled life too. You don't only have to live for your children. That's what we're talking about today. Welcome. If you are new to me, my name is Stacey Tuschel. I help small business owners get more customers through the door, more profit in their pocket, more happiness in their home. And today we are talking about overcoming working mom guilt. So the reason this idea came to me was because I've been traveling a lot. And the amount of moms that are messaging me saying, wow, I'm watching you. I'm feeling a little jealous here. How are you doing all of this as a mom? Are you feeling guilty? And they weren't saying it in a negative way. They were basically kind of projecting how they would feel on me of like, how are you doing this? And it definitely was a little bit of a I wish I could type of thing. So it's funny because I was not feeling guilty at all. And then the amount of people that were asking me literally at my last conference, I was like, I'm feeling guilty about not feeling guilty. Like that's where I was feeling. So let's kind of dive into this a little bit. Okay. So, first of all, I think there's a lot of stuff that plays a part. I was thinking about this and I realized there are some strategies that I am doing that I think could help you if you feel like this episode isn't for everybody. This is for somebody who feels like they want to be doing more, but the mom guilt is holding them back. That's who I'm talking to right now. Now, number one, I think it's really about what you believe you're doing. So I think it starts with you, right? Because the only way that you are concerned about what other people are thinking is first, you're even coming up with the idea that somebody else might think that. And where is that idea stemming from? It's stemming from you, right? So if you're thinking, oh, I could never, right? I want you asking yourself, but why? And do you believe that you are doing something wrong by fulfilling your dreams of whatever it is you're trying to do? Okay. So I went back to back to back traveling. I was in, it started in January. I can't even think of literally all the places I've been, but basically January through mid April, I have been traveling almost like every 2 weeks or so. And this last little like 2 weeks, I have gone 3 places in 2 weeks. And this is what's blowing people's mind of like, I think you're a good mom, but like, how are you doing all of this? So, first of all, it's about what you believe. Okay. I believe that what I do is very, very important. And what I am doing is not only just helping people grow their businesses, but I am actually helping people have better family lives as well. Now, I want to make sure that I am not teaching you how to have more, work life balance, but then here I am not having it in my family, right? So I truly believe that I have a great relationship with my kiddos. I believe that we have really great work life balance. And I think that even though I may travel more than the average person. I actually think the time that I am spending with my kids is probably a lot higher quality than most people are doing, right? Like you can't count you being home, but then you're on your phone while your kids are in the other room on their screen, like having screen time themselves, right? So you've got to really ask yourself, what is the quality of time like when we're spending it together? So, first of all, ask yourself if there's guilt there, what are you thinking about what it is you're doing? If you're feeling guilty, why? Where could you be being a better mom? Where could you be stepping it up? And I say mom, but really we've got dads that are listening too that may feel the same way, right? So I want you to dig deep of what is missing for you. For me, the guilt is not showing up because I feel great about the way that we're raising our kids, right? And what I'm able to show them and teach them. And I want them, as a grown woman, I have 2 girls, right? I want them to be still going after their dreams. I want them to still, know that no matter what age they are, they can still achieve anything. And I know that showing them that is to me, I'm so happy that I'm able to do that. Okay. Now, another way to know how you truly think and believe about this is how you respond when people ask you something, right? So when somebody says to me, like, oh my goodness, you're traveling all the time, do you feel guilty? Like, what is that? Now, if I started to feel very guilty, there is probably something underlying somewhere that I do believe. But to me, I was like, no, 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 here's my strategy. And here's how I do it. And I started DMing people on Instagram. And then I did some stories about this and people were talking with me. And I could proudly defend, right, what I was doing and why I think it works for us, right? Now, if part of me started to second guess myself or think like, wow, maybe I am missing things, or I would look into that a little bit deeper, but I don't feel that way. Okay. Number two, I think it's also about how you frame it, how you sell it to them. Okay. So when I am gone all the time, what do my kids think? Okay. So first of all, my kids, would they think what you tell them, right? Unless if you're not telling them anything, now it's up to them to perceive what's going on, right? But to me, I'm to them, I'm telling them, hey, just like you go to school during the day, Monday through Friday. Well, even now as an adult, I'm going to school and I have teachers. And when I go away for 2 days or 3 days and I'm in a conference room, my teacher is on stage. And instead of me being gone every single day, I'm just going for those 2 days or 3 days to learn from this specific teacher. I go to multiple conferences, I have multiple teachers. So I love that I'm actually teaching them that you don't stop learning when you turn 18 or after college, right? Like even mom today has many, many teachers that she is learning from, right? So, and I also don't say like, oh, mom has to leave again or mom has to do this. I say, mom gets to do this. I am so excited. I am going to this place and I'm going to learn from the best of the best in this category. And I'm so excited because I'm going to come home with all of these ideas and I get to put that into the business and I'm sharing my excitement of learning, right? So again, these are things I'm excited about that I'm modeling for my kids. So how do you explain this, if at all, right? And if the way you talk about it, like, oh, I've got to do this again, they start to look at it like you don't even like what you're doing. And I'm telling them how excited I am when I'm doing this. Okay. I also think my next piece of this is um, the before and the after of what this looks like, right? Or there's like a lot of strategy behind this too. So it might look like, oh my goodness, you were gone from Wednesday to Friday or whatever day, right? But I strategically plan my trips. So when I am looking at, can I do this? If I do this, what would that look like, right? I might look and go, okay, well, I want to be able to drive them to school and I'll leave as soon as I'm done driving them to school. So to them, they're not even like, let's say, like missing me until they would typically see me, let's say, at dinner time, right? Because even though I've been traveling all day, they haven't felt it. I drove them to school. I was on an airplane while they were in school. We would never have been together in the first place, right? So, like this one trip I just went on, that's what happened. I left Wednesday, like after we had taken them to school. And then I was already home by Friday at dinner time. So there was not a ton of time that I wasn't actually with them. So I'm very, very strategic about what that looks like. And sometimes that means I miss some things, or I choose to miss some things there. So I just got home from my mastermind and I actually left an entire day early. So there was a 2-day event. And then the third day, you could stick around and just mastermind and network with the other people in the room. And I chose to skip that to be home with my family instead, right? So you don't, it's not this all or nothing. You can still go to bits and pieces. You could be virtually watching something, right? Like whatever that looks like. Okay. So I'm very strategic on like when I'm planning those things, what that looks like. And I'm also thinking about, okay, what can we do together to spend quality time before and after? So I come home. The last one I just talked about where I came home like on a Friday night at dinner, they knew that I was coming home at the time. They were going to pick me up at the airport. We were going to have a sleepover together in their room. So they have a bunk bed. And then on the bottom of the bunk bed is one of those trundle. I don't know, whatever, beds. And I will literally sleep on that one. So I will usually do a sleepover one of those nights from coming home, just from like extra time together. They feel like it's special, it's something different, right? And then we're just spending that quality time together. So I'm very, very strategic. I also rarely travel on weekends. So even when I host my masterminds, and that's another thing, you might think like it looks like I'm gone for my mastermind, but I host my masterminds, almost all but one of them, here in Milwaukee. And I sleep in my home. Like I see my kids in the morning and I see them, I put them in bed at night, even when I'm here for my mastermind. So I'm strategically picking that. And then, like I said, most of my events that I attend or that I host are all during the week because it's easier to leave during the week when the kids are in school versus the weekend. I want to be with them and spend time with them. Right. So those are all things. And I just went to a conference, sales conference with Sarah on my team, and we left the conference 2 hours early to make sure that we were home. Well, it backfired because we got stuck in for 8 hours in the airport in Baltimore. But we strategically left early to be home with our kiddos at dinner time. That did not happen. We got home at like 2 a.m. But do you see what I'm saying? I mean, when I can control it, I am picking days and times that work for that, right? Another thing too is, I think, and this is where it gets a little different, right? But I live in Wisconsin. People are always like, why do you live in Wisconsin? Well, I have a lot of family here, right? My parents are 10 minutes from my home. My sisters are here, right? Like everybody is right here. So it's really easy for Kent and me to both travel together because my parents will happily, like my kids literally have like a bedroom at my parents' house for sleepovers and just like things like that. So like my kids love when they get to go to grandma's, right? Or if I leave and Kent stays home, I make sure when I look at the calendar, I'm like, okay, Kent's not going to go back to back trips with me. I want to make sure the kids are also in their home, in their beds, all the things, right? So I'm also very strategic about that. So I bring this up because this is what works for me, right? This might not work for you. You might not live by family. You might not have a spouse like mine who is able to be home with them, right? Remember, like Kent is now retired from like he was police SWAT. He's now retired from that position. So for us, now that he's in our business doing this together, we have the flexibility and freedom where he can do anything he needs to do when I'm gone. We didn't have that before. So I understand before I didn't travel as much because I knew I only had my parents to help and I didn't want them to be constantly having to watch the kids, right? So I was in a very different season 2 years ago when Kent was still working. Now we have the luxury of him being retired. We're in a different season. So I had a few conversations with some of you on Instagram, and some of you are in a very different season. You have little kids, right? They're home all the time. You don't have a spouse that's able to help out when this is happening, right? You don't have family by. So please don't compare what I am doing with your situation if we're in a different season or situation, right? Some of you will never be in my situation. You will never live by family. You will never have, right? Like, so I just want to be very, very clear that what you're seeing works for me, right? I also want you to understand I love this. This is fun for me. This lights me up. I love going to conferences. I love it. I love the travel. I love going to different places. I love just sitting in room with people that I can have a conversation with. And I'm literally I ran into one of my friends on the airplane and we sat next to each other. And so it was Kent, me, and then my friend. And he was talking. And I mean, I think I'm like somewhat knowledgeable on some of this stuff, but after we got off the plane, I said to Ken, I said, did you catch that? Cause I don't know anything he was saying. My husband's like, absolutely not. Like he was so over our head. Right. But I love that. Like I love not knowing what people are talking about, but then like Googling it later, or say, I wrote down some keywords to go to my CPA and be like, could you explain this to me? Because he said this word and I don't even know what that means. Right. But I love that. I love getting in a room where people are smarter than me. They can teach me things faster than things that I would never even have thought of, right? Just all of that. That's fun. If you don't think that's fun, if traveling, you hate airplanes, you hate flying, you hate hotels, if that is not fun, why are you even thinking you need to be doing this, right? I know some of you might think, well, yes, but you're getting all this knowledge and you're getting all this stuff. But there's other ways to get that, right? You don't have to go to in-person events to get that information, right? Like there's a million, coaching programs, masterminds. Like there are things out there that are virtual, right? That you could be jumping on Zoom calls and all the things. So I just want to make sure that you aren't seeing me and thinking I have to do that because Stacy's doing it. No, I build my life around the way that it excites me. It lights me up. It's fun, right? If that doesn't look fun, please don't model it. Do not copy what I am doing because you think it has to be done. There's a million ways to do this out there, right? To be successful. And my way is just the way that works for me. It might not be the way that works for you. Okay. So that's just like, I share this on like a minute Instagram story, and I knew that I could go so much deeper and share more details. And I know some of you have questions because you were DMing me. So here's my big ask for today. If you could DM me on Instagram, give me a topic or a question you would love for me to cover on the podcast. I want to give you more of what you need in this season you're in right now. And if you haven't noticed, I have massively increased the content volume on the podcast. We're putting out about 3 episodes a week, which means sometimes I can struggle a little bit of like, well, what else do they want to hear from me? Or what else can I share? Or what else can I do? So if you could please DM me at Stacy Tuschel on Instagram and just say topic request. And whether it's just like a phrase and you're like, I don't even know what to ask you, but I just want you to talk about this, go for it. Or if you have a specific question, I would love for you to DM me on Instagram and let's continue this conversation. All right. I hope you enjoyed today's training. Thank you so much for watching.